Live from the United National Congress social space, this is the virtual campaign.
Sing this song for represent justice. For represent justice. Sing this song for justice, peace and right.
We now have the national anthem of Trinidad and Tobago, followed by a prayer.
Almighty God, we offer our prayers to you and seek your protection for everyone in our blessed country. We pray, O God, for you to protect us from harm and sickness, so that we may have the strength to look after one another. O merciful Lord, we pray that you will continue to bless our land and those who cultivate our crops, so that there may always be food. We pray that no one will ever go hungry. Grant us understanding, equal vision, and balanced minds. Guide us along a path of faith, devotion, and wisdom. Help us to recognize that each of us is equal, that we are all equal in humanity. Give us your protection so that we may live in safety together and grow strong and free together. We pray that everyone will find love and peace in their daily lives. Dear God, we pray for our political leader. We pray for members of this team. Protect them, God, and give them the strength and courage to continue their service to our nation without fear or favor. Thank you, God, for keeping your children free in our democratic state, where every creed and race finds an equal place. Dear God, we beseech you to bless our leaders, bless our people, and bless our country.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny. Though the lords of wars and ways who rule our lives say they have the key, they're just selling empty dreams that can't fulfill.
A pleasant good night to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. A pleasant good night to my UNC family. A pleasant good night to my virtual family as I welcome you to our Monday night virtual meetings as we continue speaking with you all. I say as well a special good night to the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Senior Counsel, Leader of the United National Congress, Leader of the Opposition, and the best Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and soon to return as our Prime Minister. My brothers and sisters, tonight we have a battery of speakers, powerful speakers, as we head into our local government by-elections on January 25th. Let it not be said, let it not be known that on January 25th, 2021 is a red letter day. It is a day that we shall mark the end and start of the PNM's movement. My brothers and sisters, I start off and we welcome our first speaker tonight. He is Daniel John, the candidate for the electoral district of Hollywood. Daniel Ricardo John has been a lifelong servant for both his community and Trinidad and Tobago. A retired electrician, Daniel has been a proud member of the National Service Program since its inception over 30 years ago. A loving father, Daniel spends his time serving as a spiritual counselor to young people. He believes that by developing our youth, we will develop Trinidad and Tobago. Daniel is fed up with the lack of development in his area and the neglect by those who have taken the people of Hollywood for granted. He wants to see better sporting programs and entrepreneurial workshops geared toward helping young people start their own business. Join me in welcoming the candidate and the next councillor for the Electoral District of Hollywood, Daniel John.
Fulfill our needs. Don't they know we understand? An empty bag can't stand.
So good night to the political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, all members of Parliament, the National Executive, fellow councillors, all members of the UNC family, and especially the people of Hollywood in Point 14. I'm Daniel John, your councillor candidate for the Hollywood District of Point 14 constituency. All right? I'll ask you to give us the support because we have a history in Point 14, but it may not be recognized by all. When we began the incarnation of UNC with the crossover floor with Dr. Vincent Lass, we began many work in the Hollywood area. We had the what we call regularization of Spring Trace, Warden Road itself. We had a lot of development taking place, the expansion of URP. And then moving on further, where a lot of development work had taken place. Our hospital today was the incarnation of UNC. The fire station that you see there playing with is the incarnation of UNC. And a lot of development work was UNC projects that they just held back and decided to throw it in your face. The many neglect that Point 14 has is saddening. Even today in the walkabout, you're walking and you're seeing houses without steps. And these were people who would support the same party all the years. I have one message is let us break the habit. Once you break the habit, you'll break their habit of neglecting you. Once you break the habit of giving them blind votes, you'll break the habit of them just considering you as a vote bank. I ask the people of Hollywood, let us work together. Work with the UNC, because you saw the work we have did. The many roads that could have never been fixed, even library. Library has turned what it used to be by the neglect of the PNM, because UNC showed them library can fix. When they talk about the Bocas, library is always a response. When they look at Point 14 roads, we have become worse than library. So we ask the people of Hollywood, give us the support. Come out and let us build the community back to what it was, bring back the culture that we had, bring back the sports, bring back the environment that it was conducive for our children. In our tradition, we have a saying, let us focus on the future, not only for when we reach old, but also for the younger ones that will be following. Let us set a trend that the young ones will be proud of what we are today. Because none of the councillors that has ruled, governed over Hollywood can be proud, because the condition which we had, it never left a proper legacy. We intend to leave a legacy that our children and our children's children will be proud of. Give me the vote, I can show you how. We can bring back culture and develop the economic foundation of culture, not just for fun, but where you can sustain yourself and also expand it into other areas in the economic field. We can look at local tourism. We have vast majority of resources we are not using in terms of tourism. Local tourism is a great impact. Also, in the opening of borders, whenever it may come, there are many foreigners who enjoy coming to Point 14. Let us make even the border a benefit to the Point 14 people and not just a business program for those, the minority few who gets all the benefit. Point 14 is the cultural capital, yet we don't have a cultural center. We don't have no cultural school. We have nothing to develop culture to sustain. Many great artists, Blue Boy, Duke, many others came from Point 14. And most only legacy of their existence is a placard that is washed away because it can barely make out the face. We have tried to get Coronation Park to develop the sporting complex. When we enter Point 14, there's a big hole in a wall, which represents their vision of you, the people. You're just a hole in the wall. When it's election, they are the right choice. After election, you now realize you made the wrong choice. So the people of Hollywood, Point 14 constituency, let us work together, bring about the change. Let us break the habit. Let us allow the people of Point 14 to benefit, especially people of Hollywood. Many years you have been promised your community center in the Hollywood district by Kennedy Senior, by Kennedy Junior. I wonder if the alderman will also promise you a community center, which they know they would never give to you. But we have to change that momentum which they continue to set. Rile up and excite you for that moment for election. And after that, there's nothing for you. So continue to give us the support, continue to give me the support. Remember, Daniel John, Baba Mello, most of you all know me. You know my work and you know what I give out. We can develop, we can change, and we can bring Point 14, especially Hollywood, to a better community. There's also the areas of school and education. We are not really getting the best out of our education system because all our children is cramped in a community center where they have neglected to build the school for many years. And even now that they're building it, they're even taking longer because they're using it as a voter bank, using contracts, trade workers as 10 days workers. As a skilled worker in the construction industry, you can never pull me on a job for 10 days. That's just a job. Let us bring our community to a development stage. Let us put proper infrastructure, proper development. All the neglected roads and neglected drains in the areas can be fixed. You don't need a big budget. It can be fixed. So I ask the people, we can work together, we can build Hollywood, make Hollywood the standard that all other constituencies would want to be like. With your help or with my help, we can work together. I'm not asking just to lead you, but to work with you. Give me the support that I can support you in bringing about a better community, a better district of Hollywood, and continue the legacy of my grandfather, George Melville, which was the longest serving councillor, and develop all that is in Fanny Village right now in Hollywood District. The Fanny Village School, the Fanny Village Center, the Fanny Village Parks. We can bring these back to the standard and the quality it was, and not the neglect that PNM has continued to give in you after election. So I thank you. I hope that you come out and give a strong support. Don't let the minority make the decisions for the majority. Far too long that has been a problem. So Hollywood, let the majority come out and give your vote. Give your vote and give your support to I, Daniel John, the candidate for UNC for the Hollywood District in Point 14. I thank you. I thank you and thank you.
Empty dreams that can't fulfill all needs. Don't they know we understand?
Yes. Again, and on January 25th, the people of Hollywood will speak resoundingly, and they shall ensure that Daniel John becomes the new councillor for that area. I now bring on our next speaker and candidate, Mr. John Lakis, who is going up for the district of Moncoko, Alice Glen. John Ricardo Lakis is son of the soil of Diego Martin, has his roots firmly grounded within the community. A family man who has been married for 40 years with children and young grandchildren of 4. A man dedicated to his family. He has now entered the politics to transfer this passion to involvement in the lives and residents in his wider community. A businessman by trade who has over 40 years experience in the automobile and marine industries. John has always felt that his community has continuously been neglected for the past several years, a sentiment echoed by many. Mr. Lakis intends to focus on the youth, unemployment, infrastructure, and the levels of crime within the area. Being a father and grandfather, he has always felt the need, like every other parent, to leave a better environment for the future generation, and believes that local government is of vital and importance to the people. John believes the UNC is the best medium to affect these changes, and is supported by friends and family alike to become the new candidate for electoral district of Moncoko and Alice Glen. My brothers and sisters, the people, my friends, listening tonight, viewing tonight, let us all welcome the candidate and next councillor for Alice Glen Moncoko, Mr. John Lakis.
Empty dreams that can't fulfill all needs. Don't they know we understand? An empty bag can't stand. Sing this song.
Good night, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, colleagues in the UNC. Thank you for having me here tonight. Today I met some people who have been living in Diego Martin, one of them told me 53 years, and they have seen the gradual decline of Diego Martin. It was such a beautiful place. Everything was smooth, everything operated, there was water, the garbage was never seen. And the PNM has been ruling this 3 parts of Diego Martin. I call it all of them one, Diego Martin. That it deteriorated to such a way now that it is hard, it is dirty, it's smelly, everything that could be wrong with it someplace, it's Diego Martin. It's so disheartening to meet people that keep telling you that the PNM forever, this is PNM country. I mean, really, are they blind? What is wrong with these people? It's not all of them, some of them, but they are being instigated. So today I was thinking, this lady that is going up now, they put up a new lady there for councillor, Alice Glenn Monkoko. Where she lives, when you walk out of her house onto the main road, there are giant craters. She has been seeing that for 4 years. Her predecessor was there for 6 years. He's now a big MP. He changed his phone number. He's on YouTube and everything else at Maracas Bay. He ordered a new car. She is going to do something. These people, really, you're putting people in office who never even run a parlor. They haven't run a doubles box. They don't know how to go about getting things done and being committed. Talking about being committed, I have found out that councillors work 1 day a week. What? Who have a business that they open up 1 day a week? They have jobs in the private sector. They are living nice. That is why they're staying and continuing the way they are. So they go to work, wherever it is they work, and then on a Thursday, there's a meeting to decide X, Y, and Z. We have one person in that council, the alderman. And you're talking 13 to 1. Well, now it's 12 to 1. You know, he don't have a chance. I'm telling you, when I get in there, they will return to work every day because the people businesses every single day. How could you tell me you just come to a meeting on Thursday and that's it? And the rest of the week you off? What it is you could get done? Nothing. I am not tolerating that. I am going to oppose it. And I'm talking about opposing. There's Lord, there's the chairman where we have walked in front of his house about 3 or 4 times already in the past few weeks. There are leaks in his neighborhood. And you can see the leaks are there a long time because there's a lot of mud and moss. And it comes right around near to in front of his house. So this guy leaves his house every day for maybe years, seeing this thing and has done nothing about it. What would make it worse? He gets out onto the main road. For him to get to the corporation, he has to traverse Mount Coco Road and Crystal Stream. So I want to know if his car operates on air, that he don't feel these holes that everybody else is stopping to traverse. You know, these people have no shame. What is wrong with these people? Time we change them out. And I am here to make sure they are changed out. And next thing, recently someone drew to my attention that there's a community center in Simeon Road that apparently was done many years ago by Mr. Pantin. And it was really for the youth of the area, you know. It is in a dilapidated state, but it has been commanded by the PNM as their area, as their base, with banners, flags, etc., etc. I would like to know if that is legal, that you use, even if it's a state thing, you're not supposed to use it for your own politicking, you know. So I don't understand this. I would like to know the truth behind this. As far as the coming from Kokoja, I have to ask these people, are you all satisfied with how things are in your neighborhood? Are you all really real? Don't you look around? Do you watch a TV and you see how other places are? How spick and span they are and clean? How things operate? People get water. Garbage is collected. The roads are perfect. But you tolerate this foolishness. And you are going to tell me you're not going to vote for me because you're a PNM till you're dead. Well, boy, all you go dead PNM and you'll never get anywhere. It's about time you all get out the chains. Get those chains off of you all. Come on, you're not stupid people. Simeon Road, what is wrong with you all? Don't you all want better? I am here to provide better, to show you the way out. If I cannot perform, fire me. That is what I work with. If I am doing junk, get rid of me. But I will go in there. And let me say one more thing. You see the salary that you're supposed to get there when you move into the council? I am going to take 2 months of that salary and fix all those potholes. All. You hear what I'm telling you? Because I got a quotation from a private contractor. You know how much to fix all those holes from Majuba to Crystal Stream? I will tell you, 10,000 TT dollars. And that council do not have that money to do that, inconveniencing people every day. Traffic comes to a halt, it destroying your car, it's frustrating. What is wrong with these people? The other thing I intend to do, I'm going to take WASA to task. If WASA, when I get in there, do not come and fix all those leaks, we are going to court. I am bringing a class action suit against them. Believe you me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Goodbye.
Yes, let's hear it for John Lakis. And we know that on January 25th, when he is made councillor, the first 2 holes he go in and fix is the one in front of the house that he just mentioned there. Yes, my friends. John, I want to tell you, you made mention of the PNM councillors working once a day. But our UNC councillors and aldermen, they work every day, 24/7, because as UNC councillors and our aldermen, they know how to work. So when you become councillor, you will show them how they must work. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we're heating up the place. While you are watching this live, I want to ask you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We're moving on. My brothers and sisters, I want to now bring on our next candidate, our next successful candidate, by none other than Mr. Richard Sukdio, who is contesting the seat for Canupia. Mr. Richard Sukdio is a true son of the soil of the Shogunas Borough, who has lived in the Canupia district for over 18 years. He has been involved in the United National Congress for the last 15 years, where he has served from party group to constituency executive in an effort to ensure that lives are better, that lives are turned around. He's a real community patriot. Richard has worked with various community groups throughout Shogunas and this district, such as Canupia. Connect with the Canupia Chamber of Commerce to empower youth and provide opportunity for the vulnerable. As an active member in the Montrose New Testament Church, Richard has also served as a director on the Film Company Board, Creative Industries Board, and Free Zone Company of Trinidad and Tobago. He has served for many years as the Assistant Executive Officer of the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Committee. I can attest to that. Richard and I used to work together there. He also serves with the Shogunas Full Gospel Business Association. Richard has the experience, vision, and the ability to serve Canupia. My brothers and sisters, let us welcome our winning candidate for Canupia, Mr. Richard Sukdio.
That can fulfill all needs. Don't they know we understand? An empty bag can stand.
Honorable political leader of the United National Congress, Ms. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, UNC colleagues, virtual Trinidad and Tobago, good evening. Local by-election in 5 electoral districts are just a few days away. Citizens will have the opportunity to indicate their preference, either voting for all talk by the PNM party or endorse the UNC party that possesses a track record of performance. The term local government reform is heard from time to time. Every 3 years, that is when the local government election comes around. And just like a vapor, it disappears. This is due to the PNM's reluctance to the UNC's position on various matters. So maybe in 2022, in time for the next local general election, we will hear about local government reform again. But truly, local government reform speaks to decentralization of the systems and more autonomy. Had this aspect of local government reform materialized in the Chaguanas Borough Corporation today, inclusive of my Cunupia electoral district, it would have been a much better place. Presently, what exists is a dysfunctional, inadequate system. Let's look at the present unfair system. Arima has a population of 35,000 people and gets a subvention of $82 million. The CBC, or Chaguanas Borough Corporation, has approximately 90,000 people and gets a subvention of $69 million. The per capita for Arima works out to be approximately $2,342, whilst the per capita for the CBC works out to be, guess what, $766. Chew on that and come up with your view. Local government as it is today. With respect to crime in the Cunupia district, the PNM government has been continuously promising to control crime. Whilst the murder rate had been lowered in 2020, albeit pandemic year, other destabilizing crimes of housebreaking, larcenies, car thefts are creating a fear among the residents, and is no different in my Cunupia area. As a councillor for the Cunupia district, my intention is to assist in ensuring a safer community for the Burgesses. I intend to work with the relevant government ministries in an endeavor to have CCTV cameras installed at strategic positions. I intend to use the social media by increasing WhatsApp groups for residents in named streets and areas to enable community alertness of strange activities. To support this initiative, I will be collaborating with the Cunupia Police Station in setting up a special crime number for easy telephone access when required. Such a measure will contribute to enhancing communal relationships and will also be our brother's keeper. There presently exists a Cunupia strategic plan. This local by-election in this Cunupia district is to fill the void left by my councillor, Ms. Vandana Mohit, as she ascended to the Member of Parliament position for the Chaguanas East constituency. As is with the cause for 4 other councillor positions, it would be remiss of me not to mention that the Cunupia district has been extremely well served by the Honorable Ms. Mohit over the past 7 years. Kudos to her. Some of the goals and objectives of the strategic plan in the Cunupia district is 1, to complete and review the installation of a new traffic plan at the Chin Chin Junction Road in Cunupia to ease that congestion where there is a school right there in the vicinity. We would like to enhance parks and recreational areas. The Jenningham Junction Park, adjacent to the Jenningham Government Primary School. This will cater for the school and the residents also. The Esmeralda ground site has been completed. It is important to note of the valuable stakeholder contributions of the business community and their continued engagement in sustaining the Cunupia district, socially, academically, and with the infrastructure works. One such project we have in mind is to continue to develop the Cunupia Police Club, which will offer sporting and recreational activities with youths in mind. And as we all know, UNC is about developing and promoting youths and putting programs in place for the youths. We are in the process of getting stakeholders to assist with the first floor works in that project. Beautification works has been completed to some extent. In respect to business opportunities, we want to do an extensive plan with the Cunupia market to give opportunities to single women and new business entrepreneurs. In conclusion, I have walked the entire Cunupia district, touching every home, and have listened to their concerns and issues. However, provisions of services may not be available due to financial stronghold that is being exercised by the present PNM government. This punitive measure reeks of financial inequality to the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. However, with the limited resources, the CBC, with prudent administrative and political management within each electoral district, is positively carrying out its mandate. The PNM mats in financial subvention should not be allowed to continue. Due to the economic hardship being experienced by the population, a new meaning is given to the PNM, which is people never matters. It's all about their friends, their families, and their finances. A clarion call is now being made for all eligible voters in the 5 EDs. So on next Monday, January 25th, vote for a party that cares for its citizens, vote for bread, peace, and justice, vote for the symbol of the rising sun, vote for me, Richard Sukdev in Cunupia, vote the United National Congress. I thank you. God bless our nation.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny, though the lords of wars and ways.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, and on January 25th, the new councillor for Cunupia will be Richard Sukdev. When you go out there in your numbers, in your thousands, to vote for him, remember to put that X by the rising sun, by the UNC, and vote for Richard Sukdev for Cunupia. Coming now is our next victorious candidate, Sheldon Garcia, for the electoral district of Arima Central. Sheldon Garcia is an Arimian to the bone, having lived in Malabar all his life. He has served this community as a football coach for over 25 years, which has allowed him to positively change the lives of hundreds of young people. As a devout Catholic and member of the Malabar RC Church, Sheldon believes service to man is service to God. Hence his constant and consistent community development work in the past years, which has seen him undertake significant events such as a Christmas children's party at the Arima Velodrome. Tired of the neglect and underdevelopment the Arima Borough has faced under the PNM regime, Sheldon Garcia is standing to fight against the poor representation in the Arima Central seat. My brothers and sisters, let us all welcome our next victorious candidate, Sheldon Garcia.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny, though the lords of wars and ways who rule our lives say they have the key.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for that wonderful introduction. To my colleagues at the head table, and to my political leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, and the best Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, a pleasant good night. My name is Sheldon Garcia, and I am a UNC candidate for the Arima Central Electoral District in the upcoming by-election. As a man who is from Arima Central, I am all too familiar with the level of neglect the area has continuously shown by this PNM government. For those of you who don't know, Arima was the first royal chartered borough, but we are from the region and not made to feel like royalty. By this PNM government, we feel hurt. Seeing what our district has deteriorated into. The Lachman Singh Avenue grounds that are used by the youth in the district has been left neglected, and it is an embarrassment. The youths have told me that they want a ground that they can be proud of. Also, the basketball court, which is right next to the grounds, is in a bad state that the youth in the areas cannot use it. Well, tonight, I want to assure the youth and all the Burgesses of Arima Central that on January 25th, when you vote for Sheldon Garcia, your UNC candidate, I will ensure that all these neglected fields are no longer neglected. I will make the development of the youth a major priority. The youths are the future, and they are the future of our nation. During my walkabout, I have noticed that the drainage system is a major problem and is no new problem. This neglect is something that the people have been faced with for a number of years. The neglected drains and non-maintained abandoned properties have contributed to a major pest infestation problem in the Arima Central area. I say here tonight, as your incoming councillor, that this will be no more. I will ensure that proper work is done so we can have proper drainage in our area. That is what the people of Arima Central deserve. You deserve a hard-working councillor, and I am here to work and serve you. I am from Arima Central, and I am for you. The last time I was here, I mentioned the issue of a lack of water. Just last weekend, while leading a cleanup campaign in the district, I was constantly told by the resident that there's a lack of water supply. The people of Arima Central are in need of a water several leaks are throughout in the district. It pains me to hear this. And just as I have told those residents, I will say here tonight that I, Sheldon Garcia, once elected, shall ensure that water flows in your taps. Water is life. I want to ensure the people of Arima Central have a proper water supply. I want to remind that the PNM government, that the name Arima is the Amerindian word for water, and the PNM government had made this district not live up to its name. My friends, I have received several complaints of poor conditions of the roads, and I have seen it for myself as I drive on these roads each day. They are in a terrible condition. As your next councillor, I will make sure that these infrastructural issues are addressed in a timely manner. As I close, I want to promise the people of Arima Central, I promise to fight for peace, bread, and justice for the people. I want the people of Arima Central to hear this. I may not be a doctor. I do not hold a PhD, but I am from the community, who lives in the community. I love the people in my community, and I am here to work for them. I am no stranger to serving my community, as I have been doing this for many years. Once I am elected, I will work and serve, and I vow to provide a level of representation you deserve, true and proper representation, the kind that Arima Central deserves. So on January 25th, my people, I encourage you to come out and show your support. Come out and vote. Put your X by the Rising Sun, put your X by the UNC, and put me, Sheldon Garcia, to work and serve you. Long live the UNC, long live Kamala Persad-Bissessar, long live the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and long live the people of Arima Central. Thank you.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny. Though the lords of wars and ways who rule our lives say they have the key.
Yes, yes, yes. Let's hear it for our candidate and our next councillor for Arima Central, Sheldon Garcia. And I want to tell you all, in all of his walkabouts, everywhere he goes, everyone's saying, Sheldon, we for you. Sheldon, we know you are one of us. Sheldon, you know you're from the people. We're going to vote for you. So, Arima Central, on January 25th. Get down there early and put your X by the UNC symbol, the rising sun, for our boy, Sheldon Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, I move on to our next winning candidate, Mr. Tylan Dwight Farrell, for the electoral district of Hindustan St. Mary's. Tylan Dwight Farrell is a true example of youth innovation and commitment to building our nation. At the age of 29, he's a business owner, as well as being involved in fabrication, building, and construction sector. He has a passion for St. Mary's after living his life in Maruga. Having been involved in various church and sports groups, he wants to add representation, which will be a catalyst for change to uplift young people. He loves this community and country so much that as a former student of Barakpur Secondary, he is a researcher into historic links of this community. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome to the podium our next and winning candidate, Tylan Dwight Farrell.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny. Though the lords of wars and ways who rule our lives say they have the key, they're just selling empty dreams that can't fulfill our needs.
Thank you, fine sir, for that wonderful introduction. The Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, political leader of the United National Congress, Member of Parliament from Muruga Table and chairperson of tonight's proceedings, fellow candidates, brothers and sisters. My people of Hindustan St. Mary's, good night. Firstly, I must restate my gratitude to the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa for the opportunity afforded to me to be the candidate for by-election on January 25th, 2020. To represent this party, and most importantly, to be the voice of the grassroots. Today I stand before you, not only as a candidate for councillor for Hindustan St. Mary's, but also a proud citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. Son of the soil of our beloved Hindustan St. Mary's, I am ready to serve. I am ready to bring forth the change our communities so desperately need. I am ready to prioritize the needs of the people of Hindustan St. Mary's. I am ready to get to work. During the last few weeks, my team and I journeyed through the communities of Hindustan St. Mary's, meeting residents, hearing their plights, and forging meaningful lifetime relations. Nevertheless, I could not ignore the pain in the eyes of my people, the strain on their faces due to years of suffering under PNM administration. Tonight I say to you, my brothers and sisters, I am ready to stand alongside you to fight tirelessly, to be your voice and propel change for central government to recognize you are part of society. My candidacy is guided by my vision to progressive, just, and safe world for generations to come. A world with limitless opportunities, grounded in the empowerment of youth and the strengthening of our communities. We, as political representatives, are bounded by a duty to our people to be held accountable for the plans we intend to implement for the betterment of our communities. In saying so, as a son of action, I am willing and ready to continue the initiatives put forward by the former councillor and now MP for Muruga Table and Michelle Benjamin. I am ready to pick up the reins regarding the infrastructural works to our roadways that our residents so desperately need. The residents of 6 Company, Glood Road, Ants Nest, Puran Road, Hindustan, Naji Road, and the Naparima Miara Road must no longer be subjected to cave lands. This government speaks about boosting tourism initiatives. The former councillor made it a state-of-the-art facility, yet another facility underused, and you boast of tourism initiatives. I ask you tonight, Minister, what about the road to Devil's Woodyard? Don't you think People may visit the site more if the road is better fixed. I am committed to providing disaster relief to families affected by the terrible effects of landslip situation and harsh weather conditions that continue to affect the daily lives of many. The constituency of Muruga Tableland and by extension, Hindustan St. Mary's continue to suffer. We are stifled for funding by this PNM regime. I am aware of the problems experienced by the persons of Hindustan St. Mary's, and I am ready to get to work. As we approach the dry season, I am committed to mitigating the water shortage problem in Hindustan St. Mary's, especially in places like Tableland, who suffer the harsh reality of inconsistent water supply. I pledge my people's service and commitment to the Waterways Initiative as put forward by the Honorable Ms. Mitchell Benjamin, and will liaise with the relevant authorities to ensure the residents have access to a consistent water supply. Sport is necessary and powerful tool to the youth of Hindustan St. Mary's. However, while the youth of Hindustan St. Mary's eagerly await a safe space to engage in sporting activities, the Muruga sporting facility remains useless. In all of its unfinished glory, the PNM has spent hard-earned taxpayers' money to construct an empty building to collect dust. The facility has been inaccessible to our youth since its opening in August of 2020. The unfurnished, inaccessible sporting complex is another prime example of the empty promises of the PNM government. It's time you vote for the representation you deserve and for me to be allowed to pursue the works started by MP Benjamin. It tortures me to stand here tonight to say there are people in Hindustan St. Mary's who are still living without electricity. Single mothers who are literally out of work. Qualified persons who cannot even get a placement in OJT. I am committed to building a better for our youths, working with NGOs and key stakeholders in our communities to generate employment and training for our young people. They are the future of Hindustan St. Mary's. They are the future of our nation. To date, many persons in the electoral district have not received a single relief grant and are presented with more and more empty promises. I ask you tonight, how long will you be fooled by the empty promises and false hope of the PNM government? Years and years of promises, but nothing to show. The people of Hindustan St. Mary's have not remotely benefited from the PNM administration. Once I am elected to the chambers of the Princeton Regional Corporation, I promise to stand with you in your every need to ensure we as an electoral district become a role model district. I assure you, I will work with the Member of Parliament to ensure best that the existing issues are reminded. I will continue to promote sports and culture. I will continue to listen to your plights and find a viable solution. It is time for us to be the change that we wish to see in our country, and I am committed to achieving such change. On January 25th, 2021, vote for change. I thank you, brothers and sisters. Good night.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, there you have it. All our 5 successful and winning candidates on January 25th, 2021. You heard Daniel John for Hollywood. You heard John Lackey's for Mount Coco Alice Glen. You heard Richard Sukdeo for Canupia. You heard Sheldon Garcia for Arriba Central. And you just heard Thailand Dwight Farrell for Hindustan St. Mary's. My brothers and sisters, those are your winning candidates for the United National Congress. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is young and dynamic. He fulfills what our political leader is about. is ensuring that the young people in our party is able to rise. That our young people are able to succeed. Our young people are able to serve. I speak none other than the councillor for Charlieville and now mayor of Chaguanas. Let us all please welcome the mayor of Chaguanas, His Worship Faiq Mohammed.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread.
Good afternoon, honorable political leader, UNC family, citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. This country is suffering from an epidemic. 5 years and 4 months now. You all will know it as the PNM 2015. And now we have the new strain, the PNM 2020. For some reason, for some strange reason, this disease prevails in this country. This disease of a government is attacking our treasury, eroding our safety and security, causing businesses to fail, diminishing foreign exchange, increasing job loss, increasing taxes, increasing gas prices, increasing the number of potholes all over the country. And one thing that is not increasing is the level of funding that is given to corporations throughout Trinidad for us to properly serve the burgesses. You know what hurts the most is seeing citizens who are paying taxes not benefiting from it. But we all know who are the ones benefiting. We know exactly who will be receiving millions of dollars in rentals and for purchasing of lands. And I can tell you, it's not the burgesses of Chaguanas. It is the PNM government who is robbing the burgesses of Chaguanas. And I'm not afraid to stand up here and talk about it. As a taxpayer, you expect to see better roads and drainage, have access to the best health care, to feel safe and secure with more police presence. However, it is the friends, family, and financiers who are given priority over us, the hard-working population. Why must the corporation beg this PNM government for adequate funding to be able to serve our burgesses, the same burgesses who are paying thousands of dollars in tax and cannot benefit from it? You tell me, how is this fair? Imagine the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. When it comes to the budget, they sprinkle pennies to us when we have to serve a population of approximately 80,000 people. But on the other hand, you have the PNM-led THA spending $2.5 million on rope. Imagine that, $2.5 million on rope. Well, at least this time they could find the rope. Last time they couldn't find the gravel when they were building the hospital in Tobago. This is how the PNM prioritizes your tax dollars. $2.5 million could have been spent on laptops for our children to do online classes. But education is unimportant to this government. They are too busy cutting gates and closing down UTT campuses. This money could have been used to buy beds, wheelchairs, and medication for hospitals. But knowing them, they rather see people lying on the floors in our public hospitals while they are treated like royalty in private institutions. I am thinking it's better in the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. I think it's best now that we sell rope because we need this $2.5 million. So I'm looking into selling rope soon in the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. Imagine during these hard economic times, money that could have been spent to bring relief to the citizens of this country is being wasted. As the mayor of Shogunas, I don't understand what equation or logic that they have been using to distribute funding to municipal corporation. The only thing that comes to mind is donkey logic. Yes, donkey logic. Under Kamala's administration, the Shogunas Borough Corporation received in excess of $100 million. However, since 2015 to now, there was a steady decrease to almost half that amount of funding. We now receive approximately $60 million. You know how hard it is for us to sit in council to decide what takes priority when we know it has more than one thing that needs to be fixed. One such difficult decision we were forced to make was reducing the amount of days for open trade services from 3 to 2 to 1. We just don't have that level of funding anymore to pay contractors to service 12 times a month like before in 2010 to 2015, when this government is only sending funding for 4 times a month. We at the Shogunas Borough Corporation are doing the best to keep our heads above water. But soon we may not be able to keep the lights on in our building because no money was sent to even pay utility bills. All we are receiving is releases for wages and scavenging. Imagine, no money was released yet since the budget was read since October for the purchases of material to fix roadways. So we have a workforce, but no materials to work with. You see that? That is P&M logic. That is donkey logic. My friends, there's a famous story, Animal Farm, where the pigs was in charge of the farm, and they said, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. My friends, what I see today when I look at this P&M government, they are in charge, and to them, all citizens are equal, but some citizens are more equal than others. According to the political leader, dogs are more equal. In Shogunas, we have a population of 80,000 plus citizens, whereas Point Fortin, there's a population of approximately 20,000. But they are getting approximately $3,450 per Burgess, whereas in Shogunas, we are getting $862.50 per Burgess. It is clear to see that with the P&M, some citizens are more equal than others. But there are more examples of unfairness and inequality. This government prioritizes millions for San Fernando Waterfront Project and to upgrade Skinner Park. And what Shogunas got? Nothing. Zero. We have been begging and pleading for the infrastructure to alleviate the horrific traffic situation. Not for vanity projects, but projects that will benefit the Burgesses positively. But San Fernando, with a population of 48,000, seems to be more equal than Shogunas with a population of 80,000. Where is the fairness and equality, my friends? It was under Kamala Persad Bissessa that local government saw proper funding and the country saw proper development. Under Kamala Persad Bissessa, we went from cotton cane to flying plane. Under the P&M, we went from flying plane to cleaning drain. Under Kamala, this country was selling oil. Under the P&M, we are selling scrap iron. Under Kamala, we were moving towards the 21st century. And my friends, not because the Prime Minister is a geologist, he has to take us back to the Stone Age. Think about it. The same government that asks you to tighten your belt is the same government that has wasted away this country's wealth. And the rate they are moving, soon the bells might be wrapped around our necks. That is why on the 25th of January, it is important to vote United National Congress in the local by-election. Vote for our 5 candidates and let us put a stop to this PNM government. Their priority is their pockets and not the people. Citizens, it's only together we can get rid of this heartless PNM government and return Trinidad and Tobago to normalcy. On the 25th of January, it is important to come out and vote. I want to remind you, my friends, that change only happens when you stain your finger and stain it in the right way. So let's start with this election. And remember, a river cuts through a rock, not because of its power, but its persistence. Together, we will persevere, and together, we will rise. Thank you.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread.
Yes, yes, Your Worship, you prove one thing tonight, and you're correct. Imagine dog better than you in Trinidad and Tobago right now. Oh, Lord. I don't know what again will happen here. Oh, Lord, oh, Lord, oh, Lord. My friends, please remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. Also remember, January 25th, we're voting for the UNC for all our candidates in the by-election. Coming now is a very young, dynamic councillor. She is a councillor in the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. She leads a dynamic team of councillors. She has been in politics since 2005, serving in the national youth arm of the United National Congress at that time. She's been a local government councillor since 2010. She has just completed a diploma in operational management of local government. And when she's in that council, she's a firebrand. She's have the PNM running. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Councillor Jalen Rupnarai.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song, this song, this song, this song, this song.
Our distinguished political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessor, my UNC family, and last but not least, you, our online supporters, who have joined us on this Monday night virtual forum. Good evening. My friends, like the mannequin challenge, the Rowley PNM government has been frozen in action, bringing the economy to the standstill since they assumed office for the second term on August the 10th, 2020. Under the PNM, our country has not grown for the past 5 years. Unemployment continues to rise. The Point Lisas area, our major source of foreign exchange, is on its knees. There was a growth though. The friends, the families, the financiers, the recusal twins, Faris and Fuyong all benefited through the last 5 years, and the PNM has prioritized these people over you and the wider population. I must say, when Mrs. Bissessor was the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, that was the best time ever in our country's history. Jobs were created, food prices were at their lowest, persons were able to receive medications on time. Crime was coming under control. Laptops for our children were free. We see now how important that decision was, and imagine if it was still in place today. My friends, performance is a legacy of the United National Congress. Tax, corruption, scandal is the legacy of this Rowley PNM government. Well, Ropegate is the latest massive corruption scandal. Imagine, as my colleague mentioned, the Tobago PNM paid $2.5 million for a piece of rope and was bold-faced enough to call it a tourism project. Come on now, man. Are they for real? In the Tunapuna-Piarco Regional Corporation, where I sit as the councillor for the electoral district of Kirepage, a document was tabled on Wednesday, the 13th of January, 2021, proposing to significantly raise fees for a number of services provided by the corporation. You know how much rope that is? The document stated that the increase in fees was necessary to offset the shortfall in allocation and release from central government. Fees would be increased for 3 departments: building inspector, public health, and works. As the UNC minority leader in the Tunapuna-Piarco Regional Corporation, I joined with our party's other 4 councillors, Councillor Seema Ramsran Augustine, Councillor Richard Rampersad, Councillor Sukhdev Prakash Bharat, and Councillor Samuel Sanker, and our 2 aldermen, Diane Bishop and Kevan Gibbs, in voting against this move. Unfortunately, we were outvoted given the PNM's majority in the corporation. The decision to raise fees shows the left foot of the PNM-controlled central government does not know the right foot of the PNM-led Tunapuna-Piarco Regional Corporation is doing. Talk about a PNM Balize dance of incompetence. Why can't the PNM Minister of Finance release the funding to manage a PNM-controlled corporation? Something is very wrong with this. Citizens should not have to pay the price for the incompetence of inverts. Imagine, simple services like patching of holes bigger than my car cannot be fixed. Let me name a few areas in Kirep: Evans Street, McInroy Street, St. Augustine Circular. Terrible. It is worse than the Bocas. Citizens, now is the time, and we are fed up. We are totally fed up. Another thing is we have so many manhole covers that are open. It's a hazard. What do they care? You know when they will care? When somebody fall in the hole and then they come to sue the corporation. That is when they will care. And let's not forget the new Kirep Presbyterian School. Would you believe the minister, the Ministry of Education, is now seeking the assistance of the Kirep Presbyterian School Board and the Tunapuna-Piarco Regional Corporation to have the school clean for when school reopens? Is the PNM serious? Are they for real? Where is the so-called goodie budget the Minister of Finance read in September 2020? Or is it he fooled you, the people, about the allocations to each corporation, like they fooled us and said COVID-19 was under control? We in the UNC are calling on the local government minister. You listening? We are calling on you, Mr. Kazim, and other members of the corporation to reverse this decision. We in the UNC always seek the best interest in providing services to the people. And as our political leader has always taught us, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people. This is what we do. This is what we started to do in 2010 under her leadership. And this is what we will continue to do. Nonetheless, we are determined to continue fighting for better quality of life for every citizen. So tonight, I want to remind you that on January the 25th, we have a by-election. And I ask you to go out. Go out in your areas in your electoral district and vote for your UNC candidates. Vote for better representation. Vote for performance. Vote for the UNC. The PNM government is unproductive, intolerant, and indisciplined, and we are fed up. We are fed up of you. We will continue to fight. We stand behind our political leader, and in moving forward, vote for the UNC. I thank you, and have a good night. God bless.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the dynamic councillor, Jalen Rupnarain. And I too, I want to say tonight, thank you to the UNC councillors of Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. I am a burgess of Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation, and I thank you for speaking for me, because hearing them fees, well, guess what? I am paying none. I'm not paying any. Because that is an injustice to the people that fall under Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. Thank you to our UNC councillors for standing up for us. Coming now is a long-standing stalwart of the United National Congress, a man who has served for 17 years as a local government councillor. He is serving currently as the chairman of the Couva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, a man who stands tall, a man who stands for the people, a man who is there for his region. I speak none other than chairman of the Couva Tabaki Regional Corporation. Please all welcome Henry Awong, chairman.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
for
Leader of the opposition and political leader of the United National Congress, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa Senior Counsel, my UNC family, and to those who are listening virtually, including those who are wondering why they voted for the PNM in the last general election. To you all, I extend a pleasant good evening. My brothers and sisters, it is my understanding, as I'm sure it is yours also, that when you vote for a political party at any elections, be it general or local, it is to improve the quality of life for all. And to do so, you must be able to effectively manage the affairs of our country. We should not be voting for anything else, especially not for race, not for color, not for religion. His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie said in a speech in Geneva, Italy in 1936, while addressing the League of Nations on the invasion of Ethiopia by Mussolini. These words were made famous by the Honorable Bob Marley. He said, until the color of a man's skin is no significant than the color of his eyes, until there are no first-class and second-class citizens of any nation is going to have war. My brothers and sisters, what we need is a leader who understands the word, every creed and every race finds an equal place. A leader with love and compassion for the people. A leader who determines to unite and progress our people. A leader who is forward-thinking and whose policies are always people-centered. And that leader will always be the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa. I want to sincerely express my sincere thanks and gratitude to my UNC colleagues of the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. And I just listened to Councillor Jilling for standing up against the increase in fees during this COVID-19 time in that corporation. Thank you so much. I noted with great concern that the local government line minister trying to defend the hike of the fees on the Express, I was reading that on the Express, I think, Saturday or Sunday. Instead of instructing his PNM colleagues to put a hold during this trying time when people are losing their jobs, parents are required to find money to purchase laptops and tablets, plus access Wi-Fi for their children, in order for them not to be left behind in their education. People are suffering. Come on now, Minister, man, you can do better than that. I noted in those fees a $400 cleaning of privy. Brothers and sisters, you all know what is a privy? A pit privy is a latrine. In this day and age, a man who has a latrine, he needs help. Not a $400 fee to get it cleaned imposed upon him. Amount of latrine is there that need help. Minister, come on, you're defending that, man. That always also came up in my corporation to move the fee from 50 to 100. $50 to 100. Immediately we shut it down. Our UNC colleagues and our corporation run by UNC, we shut down that one time. Even from 50 to 100, we shut it down. Because a man with a latrine in his day and age need help. I always say that local government deals with your everyday needs. As you step out of your house in the morning, you want to know, have your garbage been collected, sidewalks clean, road repaired, cemeteries well kept, play park maintained. The corporation is not an income-generating organization. And we are dependent on central government for subventions in order for us to effectively carry out our mandate on behalf of the people. And don't tell me we need local government reform for us to do so. Local government reform is needed, and the leader told us recently why so, because of the inequality between corporations. My corporation span 719.6 square kilometers, a population of 178,000 people live in this region. And when you look at the funding we get, pittance. I'm going to make the point, and I don't care if you all say I repeat this too much. It must be told that when the UNC was in government, things were running 100% time better than 2015 to now. And I must tell you how. I'm going to use the city TRC as an example. Between 2010 and 2015, under the People's Partnership and under Kamla Persad Bisasa, we got 53 grounds illuminated, 23 pavilions constructed, 25 train play park installed. So far, none from the PNM in those areas. We moved from having 35 areas that was dependent on a truck-borne water supply during the dry season to 13. You know what we said today still? From 2015 to now, still 13. Their response is to take your unspent balances and buy water truck and fix truck. People want pipe-borne water. Children have to bathe and so on. People want to wait on a water truck to get to them and water by the roadside. So brothers and sisters, I'm getting the wrap up. Councillors have now, let me just say this, councillors have now became beggars. We have to beg for scarified material to patch road. We have to beg quarry owners to give us some tractor cut material. The Ministry of Works doing nothing. Road verges are overgrown with bush. The response anytime requests are made to them, we have no material, we have no manpower, we have no equipment. Can you lend us a truck? Can you lend us a backhoe? This is the Ministry of Works for you today. Brothers and sisters, as I wrap up, I know there's a motion against a minister coming up. I want to tell you, we as local government practitioners have lost confidence not only in a minister, but in the entire PNM government. The entire government we lost confidence in. Brothers and sisters, on the 25th of January, which is next week, Monday, we have a by-election in 5 areas. And each of those areas, we have a UNC candidate. Persons who are community-oriented. We heard them here this evening. I am asking you to use your vote wisely. Vote for the UNC. Vote for yourself. Vote for community. Vote for country. Vote United National Congress. I thank you very much.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and
Yes, let us hear it for the dynamic chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring now to the podium a firebrand in the Senate. The man who's have the PNM hopping. He's have the Senate President jumping up and down. When she finished, oh God. Ladies and gentlemen, we have one of the most dynamic senators here. former Minister of Sport, in fact, the best Minister of Sport that served under the Kamla Prasad Bisesa administration. My brothers and sisters, let us all welcome Senator Anil Roberts.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I get rope in. My grandfather raised from the grave when he had 2.5 million for a rope. Luther Roberts from Tobago. Either half Tobagonian Douglas, so the rope me in here today. I'm telling you, I get rope into the virtual, but the longest rope have an end. We go give the PNM enough rope to hang themselves. We go play rope-a-dope with Rowley. And let me tell you, a long rope for MAGA goat in Tobago. Because the Tobago economy is like a MAGA goat under the PNM. They shut down everything. The only thing that Tobagonian have is a salary from the THA. Now, goat normally represents the greatest of all time. Muhammad Ali, some of these greats, Michael Jordan, Pele, men call it Messi, no, he can't fit in there yet. But in Trinidad and Tobago now, GOAT stand for, under the PNM, government only assists thieves. That is GOAT. The PNM has transformed the fatted calf of the Tobago economy into a MAGA GOAT. But why cheat? Right now they're playing politics. They say Kamla in Tobago. Kamla is Watson Duke. Watson Duke is a Francoman, black African Tobagonian, born, bred Wasserman. How Kamla come in that? All they leave the lady out all the mouth. They put in a poster, Kamla and PDP. PDP is black and green, we is yellow. Kamla in Trinidad, that Tobago. All you calling Kamla name, all you can't do nothing without Kamla. Well, it's best you come out and leave Kamla to go back and be Prime Minister. But I don't understand this. You in charge of Tobago so long, since 2003, $32 billion. All you say is PNM country, Tobago is all your country, and all you could try to do to win an election is to cheat. They like Justin Gatlin taking steroids to beat Usain Bolt, but go still get licks because cheaters never prosper. They like Brian Lara, the king, the batsman, when he out, he don't even wait for the finger, he just walk out. Class is class. As opposed to Steve Smith, the Australian, who want to take to dig up ball and so on. Rowley, it looked like when he playing cricket, he just had to dig up ball. It might be like Kamla versus Rowley. Kamla does go election and tell you children life fund, hospital, medicine, oncology drugs, 106 school, sporting stadium, aquatic center, textbooks, tell you about children, food, differently abled, across the board, Burgesses, local government, you're hearing it, that Kamla record. Rowley come to say, boy, I get some piece of paper, and they say, boy, them people try to kill a journalist. And I get a small pin to defend me, and now he's the super small pin. Why you have to cheat? If you good, say what you do, Rowley. Tell Tobago what you do. Don't tell them you're black and you're from Mason Hall by way of Lekoto and you put thing on Manning. Don't tell them that. Tell them what all you do with the 32 billion because nothing working in Tobago. But I don't understand what the PNM talking about, you know. Because just a few weeks ago in the Hansard, all the MPs here go tell you, each and every PNM, from Rowley to Ikepax, boy pin, small pin, coming to tell you the UNC is disrespectful to the country of Trinidad and Tobago because the UNC only put 39 candidates in Trinidad and they ignore Tobago, they disrespect Tobago. There is no country called Trinidad. There is only Trinidad and Tobago, and the PNM is Trinidad and Tobago. That's what them just say on the Hansard. Now they're under pressure. They ball Kamla in the Tobago election with PDP. Make up all your mind. Like all you not only MAGA buying rope for MAGA goat, all you bipolar too. So they come now to talk race. That's the only thing them could win with. Race in Tobago. They're trying to bring Kamla in it to make Watson Duke look like he's an Indian. Because now, in the only way Rowley could win the election, because he's so incompetent, so corrupt, and the worst prime minister in the history of the Caribbean and the Commonwealth, the only thing he could pretend to people is, boy, I as a black man, so vote for me. But Watson Duke is a black man. So all you handle all your story in Tobago, because right here, we have 5 electoral districts in Trinidad to win, and we have 5 winning candidates. It are no safe seat for PNM. Down in Diego Martin, where that clown come out from who calling woman bat, like he just gone and follow his leader. No respect for woman. That man disrespecting woman since 1969. A teacher making child inside and outside, but telling we that we must not vote for PDP because them connected to the UNC on the outside. So keep the PNM family inside, everything good. But one problem with that, Rowley, you have inside children who have exemption and your outside children outside without exemption. So who is to take you on? If you treating your own children so, how you going to treat Tobagonians? When you talk about Kamala Persad-Bissessa as Prime Minister, she treat Tobago with respect. Without a talk that, the record is there. She brings Tobago self-governance bill and debate it in the parliament. Rowley 5 years there and come a second term based on no observers and a EBC, niece of a minister who he sit down there and pay for medical for across the board to keep him alive. All of them getting sick. Well, good thing they have plenty of all your money, because other than that, oh God, the cabinet go be empty. Kamala Persad-Bissessa bring self-governance bill for Tobago. Rowley do nothing. Kamala Persad-Bissessa had the sea bridge moving smooth, so much so she never even take praise for it. She didn't even put it in her accomplishment because she thought that is run-of-the-mill. That is not run-of-the-mill. Now when Tobagonian had to, under the PNM and Rowley, had to put banana and sand on the back and swim across to Tobago, when they had barge and everything shut down, when they send home the Canadians and they bring Bridgman's crooked money still running 158 million and counting. Rowley said crooked, but the only reason the crooked money jump out the treasury is because Rowley, with small pin at his side in Tobago, approved the Charter Party agreement 3 years ago on the phone. So leave we out, leave Kamala out, all your business. Deal with PDP, deal with Watson Duke, Tobago, all your please. In the history of Trinidad and Tobago, Tobago has led the way. Tobago, the UNC in Trinidad is saying, we need your help, please. Start the ball rolling. Start the snowball rolling down Mount Everest. Beat the PNM, PDP, beat them there so that Tobago will show Trinidad what we have to do to save our country. We are suffering across the board. We are at the hands of monsters, and it's getting worse. Well, let me move on quick, because they tell me rush. I now get a thing I asked Franklin Khan in the Senate a few weeks ago, but Franklin Khan, all you follow me quickly, where the money for the gas, all you buy gas from Venezuela, Wilmer Ruperti, PDVSA, Delcy, Maduro. All you buy gas from them. And we didn't know where the invoice dated after Paria said that they get payment. Franklin Khan couldn't answer, so they say they give him a chance to give an assurance. Hear what Franklin Khan and the PNM say now about that. Remember I showed you all that the invoice that they laid in Parliament had First Citizens Bank as being the bank where the money was to be deposited. But Paria said the money was deposited in an RBC bank. So I ask all you, how the foreigner them know that Paria even have a RBC bank account? They come and they answer and they say, well, they had a pro forma invoice on April 8th that had the correct RBC account. Paria said the money went in the account from Deutsche Bank on April 15th. But then they did a next invoice on the 27th, and they made an error. They put the wrong bank account. Well, let me ask all you this PNM, since all you're so bright, all you're lying so much, you're tying up yourself with all that $2 million rope, $2.5 million rope. If you corrected the invoice on the 27th, which was made 12 days after the payment was received, Why you lay in Parliament 53 days later the wrong invoice? You see the problem? PNM, I don't know about all you know. All you say, all you correct it. But you come and lay in Parliament the invoice with the mistake. Well, we go deal with that. We moving right along. I ain't dealing with that now. Maduro and Rowley quickly. Because you all don't understand Trinidad and Tobago. Foreign affairs is going to impact this country. We're feeling the pain across the board from no foreign exchange, no foreign direct investment, no jobs, no school. Our children don't have laptops, no connectivity, pothole, no water. Now we have no money to clean latrine. Imagine in 2021 we discussing a policy in Trinidad and Tobago to dig out from the latrine. Some of them in the cabinet should go down in the latrine and we should cover it up. This is 2021. We're supposed to be discussing innovation, creativity, new green energy, jobs, money, investment, great gas, more refinery products. We talking latrine under the PNM. But Maduro, Rowley's best friend, they just found in Switzerland $10 billion of Venezuelan money that Maduro and his friends have in 30 banks and 150 accounts. I want to know who other friends are there have money in Switzerland, because we know Maduro has some friends in Trinidad. Them just come in without exemption, land on private sanctioned jet, and only Kamala come and show we the form. And then we know, and immigration officers get thrown out from the access to the computer. I wonder if any of them friends local, Trinitario, the friends of Maduro, name out there in Switzerland, we go find out, because it's $10 billion US found. But there's a problem brewing again with Guyana. And Keith Christopher Rowley has Trinidad and Tobago on the wrong side of the argument. But now he sit down as the chair of CARICOM, but he switched the side for CARICOM. So he's supporting Maduro as Trinidad and Tobago, but fighting Maduro as CARICOM. The men confused, they have no policy, but we are going to suffer because the European Parliament has condemned Maduro for his acts against humanity. Maduro now, today, send to Brazil, because the Brazilian president is siding with Canada, the USA, with Europe, with our trading partners, whose side we should be on. Maduro, who people suffering and running all over, they say 7 million more going to leave and come, another 100,000 due to come into Trinidad and Tobago in the open porous borders, because small pins studying to procure and not studying to do work. They come in here. Maduro send oxygen to Brazil to make a political point while his people have no food and running away. And that is who Rowley endorsed. He attacked USA, attacked Europe, attacked the US, attacked General Secretary to support a narco trafficker, indicted corruption drug trafficker, and then telling all you that don't vote Kamala and PDP in Tobago. All you vote out Rowley. The country is sinking. We are in a desperate situation, and the joke is over. The media must talk the truth. They're now talking about COVID. We dying all over. COVID coming in on Kobo. Everything shutting down. You, the people, must save us. Vote UNC. We have 5 by-elections. Vote it in Trinidad and get rid of the PNM over there. Anything better than Rowley and his MAGA goat. Blessings.
Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the dynamic Anil Roberts. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor, it is the pleasure that I have, the greatest honor tonight to introduce the greatest Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, and come next general election, when it is called, return Kamala Persad-Bissessar as our next Prime Minister. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to introduce to you the leader of the UNC, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, Senior Counsel.
I will fight for you. I always do until My heart is black and blue. 'Cause I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not yet. Even when I'm down to my last breath. Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even when nobody else believes. I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me.
She continues to raise the hard questions that strike right at the heart of our nation. Live from the United National Congress social space, former Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition, Kamala Prasad Bisesa.
I will fight for you. I always do until my heart is black and blue.
Good evening, friends and family of the UNC, my colleagues who are, some of them are here with us tonight, others listening in, tuned in to this virtual meeting. Good evening to all of you, and I think Anil already wake up the place, so let's give Anil a... Anil had us all going, but he's half Tobagonian, so he has a right to speak in that regard, but he's also a Trimbagonian. He has that right to speak as well. So good night, thanks for joining us, and we are at a very critical time in our history. Our party, your party, the People's Party, is committed to serving people. We will always fight for democracy, fight for freedom, fight for rights of all our citizens, and I say here all. I'm talking about the citizens who are home here, and I'm talking about the ones who have been abandoned and are stranded overseas. All citizens, we will fight for you. We will fight for your rights. That's why these virtual meetings are so important, because the government has shut down the parliament. They've gone on a recess, the longest recess ever over the Christmas break. Parliament was supposed to convene on this Friday. The fourth Friday in every month is Private Members' Day. And you know we have filed a motion of no confidence, a private motion, in Minister of National Security, Stuart Young. So they're ducking the Parliament, not convening the Parliament. They wait until after the election results come out on Monday, when by rights under our standing orders, that private motion against Stuart Young would have been debated in the Parliament on Friday of this week, fourth Friday of every month. 1 day in each month is given for the opposition to file motions of these kinds. So, look, Stuart, whether we do it this Friday, we do it next Friday, whichever way we do it is licks coming for you, because you're the most incompetent Minister of National Security we've ever had. So if you think you have escaped, if you think you've escaped, you have not. You will have to come to Parliament and you will have to explain to people why it is that you're acting illegally, shutting down the rights of every citizen that you have stranded abroad. It is a right at common law. It is a right under the Immigration Act. It is a right of any citizen to enter into their country. And that is why we saw, whilst we were locking out our nationals, you were busy inviting and bringing here Delcy Rodriguez and her crew. Brought them into the country immediately after you lock it down. What exemption did she get? What criteria did you use? You shut the borders and you use a Regulation 10. The COVID regulations, they've been repeating them. I think we now reached 30-something. But Regulation 10, each time, has to do with the seaports and airports being closed, and the only way that you can come, you have to get the permission of the Minister of National Security. I will speak more of that. I don't want to be in a court of law at the moment, but you have acted totally unlawfully. The Minister of Health, first of all. Those regulations are made in his name. He signs them. And that Regulation 10 is totally illegal. Totally illegal to use the public health ordinance to make regulations to stop citizens returning. And I want to clarify, we are not talking about opening the borders to the world. We are talking about bringing our nationals home. So whilst you let Delcy in here, we had our children in Barbados, stranded in Barbados, they couldn't come home. The Bajans had to give us a licking, a real tongue licking. Tap up Stuart Young. In every which way, they couldn't bring our citizens from Barbados. Whilst it is the UK and the US and so on, they were sending planes, aircraft to pick up their citizens to take them home. They have some of the highest rates of COVID, but they made sure to take care of their citizens because the right had common law, which is a right we inherited long before we had a written constitution, a common law right that every citizen must be allowed to enter into the country. You could have a pandemic, you could have whatever it is, you can only block out your citizens if you go to the parliament to change that law, to change the common law, to change the constitutional rights of citizens. You haven't done that. Instead, you have the Minister of Health signing a piece of paper saying, shut down the borders, nobody could come in unless Stuart Young gives them that exemption. And I'll talk a little bit about that because we have to bring our citizens home. Each day we hear the stories, we read of the stories, the harrowing experiences, horrible experiences our citizens are facing in foreign lands. And there is no compassion. When we talked about you're granting these exemptions, you're doing it, no equity, no equality, inequality of treatment, that some could come and some can't come. And as I said, things get so bad that even a dog had more rights than our citizens. Dog could get an exemption to come in. So I'll deal with Stuart Young on those issues in the Parliament on another day. So, talking about Tobago. I really had no intention to get into the whatever is happening there, but I think you've put me there, you've put me in the middle there. You're putting up posters with my face on it. Look, I know I have a good-looking face, eh? So I don't mind you put up the posters wherever you're putting them up. But listen, the UNC is not contesting the Tobago elections. Alice spoke a bit about it. We are not contesting, we're very concerned for the people of Trinidad and the people of Tobago. We did so much, and Anil mentioned earlier, we brought the self-government bill to the Parliament. You know why it wasn't passed in my term? Because Rowley, as the opposition leader, and all the PNM MPs voted against self-government for Tobago. They voted against it. And it was a Pandey government, the UNC government, that created the Tobago House of Assembly in the first place. That was done on the Pandey. So I agree with Anil, what have you done for the people of Tobago? What have you done? And now this rope. Just every rope has an end now. But this rope is not ending. Because whilst I'm coming here tonight, I heard on the news that the rope, it wasn't just 2.5 million. Farley, the PDP man, shared on a platform maybe or somebody shared that it is $3.5 million for this piece of rope. 3.5 million. You know, the THA, for almost a decade, they have failed to comply with the law to file Auditor General reports. They haven't filed anything. So when Anil talks about the $32 billion over the years they've spent, they cannot account for where and how they spent it. And that is why the corruption issues in Tobago. And Ms. Tracy, stop calling my name. Don't put my name in your business. Explain to the people of Tobago that 3.5 million piece of rope. Explain why it is you all did not file Auditor General's reports. Explain all the other issues of millions being spent, but no reports being filed, no accountability, no transparency. That's what you have to answer. Don't think that you can use my face to frighten people. Boy, when people see my face, they smile because I'm a smiling person. Putting up my face on a poster with the PDP people, that's not going to get you to win, It is back to desperate measures, getting back to Calcutta ship all over again. But people are wiser and smarter. People are wiser and smarter. They're seeing the games of what they are. You all cannot explain the corruption in Tobago under the PNM. So what do? You pull the UNC into it. We are not in your business there. Explain the corruption issues in Tobago for the people of Tobago. And I urge the people of Tobago, come out and vote out Rowley. Vote him out. That's what Alice said tonight. And yes, what is my relationship with Watson-Nuke? My relationship with Watson-Nuke is that with every other citizen of our land. We are nationals of Trinidad and Tobago. That is my relationship. We have no political relationship. I make that very clear tonight. We have no political relationship. And I want to know where you're getting money to print posters with my face. Because it's not Watson-Nuke and the PDP doing that. It has to be the PNM. The UNC is not contesting in Tobago. The only party in Tobago that takes instructions from Trinidad is the PNM. The only party in Tobago that takes instructions from Trinidad is the PNM. PDP takes no instructions from the UNC. They are contesting, they're fighting, they're Tobagonians, they're entitled to fight for what they see as the right thing. So, spend money on my face, fine, that's okay. But I want the people of Tobago to understand when you vote, you're voting for your rights, and that is your democratic right to cast your votes wherever you may. Don't let them chase your brain. Don't let them chase you up. What they want is chain you up into believing something that is so totally false. And today I want to talk about PNM 3. Guardian Media. Guardian Media, you know, I don't speak about the media, but this is going too far now. They print this long story about the same posters and calling the PRO of UNC to find out why his party putting up posters in Tobago. So these are the posters, and it's so obvious to everyone what they're doing, but Guardian Media wants to chase our brains and chain us up to ask us why we put in posters in Tobago. You probably read the story today. Everybody knows, everybody sees that for what it is. A desperate bid, an attempt by the PNM, because they are probably worried about losing seats in that THA election. Why else would you resort to that? I would go back from there. Let's talk about other things happening in our country. And I said we filed a motion of no confidence. I tell you more. Some people are saying, well, why did you go to court about this matter? Yes, we have matters in court. There are matters challenging these regulations in the court. But that process takes time. By the time you get a judgment, that will go all the way to the Privy Council. But what we have as parliamentarians, we are the loyal opposition of Trinidad and Tobago. We've been elected by the people. We've been elected. We are elected representatives, and we have a duty. And the government has a duty to explain their actions. The government has a duty to tell people what is happening. As I said, they shut the parliament down willy-nilly as they see fit. So when we took the decision to proceed with a vote of no confidence, we were fully aware that their numbers are more than ours. And listen, when they stay away from that parliament, we are just, what, 2 or 3? Very, very close race there. That means they have to come to parliament to vote. They will have to come to get the majority of the votes. So we are fully cognizant, we are fully aware that we did not have the majority of the votes in the parliament. But that's not a reason to stop us from doing what is our duty as a loyal opposition. So we were very well aware that without the numbers in the House, the vote will go against us. We are also very much aware we could not let that stop us from using whatever mechanism was available to bring the fight on behalf of our brothers and sisters stranded out there. Stranded there, that is our duty to bring it into the parliament. Let the parliament record Hansard, show what this wicked and incompetent government has been doing. That is where we go. And when we talk to you from the parliament, we talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, to the nation. So this matter will go down in the Hansard as a record of history of the illegality that the PNM is proceeding with. So you just go to court and wait what? By the time you get a hearing, what? When? This year? Next year? By the time you go up to the Court of Appeal, this year, next year? By the time you finish, 5 years gone, you know. By the time you reach the Privy Council. Because judgments in this regard, this government, that AG who loses cases every week, he will not leave it alone. Should we win in the lower courts here, he will take it up. He will take it up. So we're not going to get this matter ventilated publicly unless we use the House of the People, which is a House of Representatives. So we will fight inside that house. We will force them to answer. And I see they're posting up something on Facebook, posting up thing, wear red, in support of MP Young, wear red. So I don't know if they want you to put on your red and come outside the parliament, forgetting that it is COVID, because we are inside the parliament. They've spaced us out. They've shortened our speaking time. Let's see if they intend to bring up a red brigade outside the parliament to show support for Stuart Young on whichever day they decide to debate this motion of no confidence. So there it is. We have to make them explain. And those abroad, missing, stranded abroad, trapped by this failed policy, friends and family first, to force them to account for decisions that stranded and abandoned our citizens. That's not the only remedy, the courthouse. That's one. But the court of public opinion is higher than any other court. Some are asking, as I said, why we didn't go to the courts for constitutional review, for judicial review, and so on. I'm telling you, those matters are before the court. Some have accused us of why we wait so long. Why did we wait so long to call for our citizens to come home? And I want to make it clear, I'm not saying open the borders, I'm saying bring home. Let your citizens come home. Let our nationals come home. That's what we need to do. So we waited too long. I want to remind you, before the August elections, from this same virtual platform, I made it very clear that our priority would be, should we win that election, to bring our nationals home. So we are not just falling back and going, no, why no? Why didn't do it before? We made that commitment. The rest is history, as you know. So we stood strong then. We will stand even stronger now. I want to give you assurance we will not rest. We will not rest on this issue until all nationals are allowed to come home. You have our word on that. The UNC will take this fight strongly, and we will stand up for you. It really pains me. Can you imagine? Going on 10 months now, going into a year by March, people are locked out. Can you imagine? Just think if it's your loved one, think if it's your child, think if it's your mother, if it's your father. Take a minute and just think about it. That you can't see them, you can't hear them, and next thing you know, one of them might pass away whilst they're abroad, as has happened. As has happened. You remember when the British MP, member of Parliament in Britain, went to the Parliament there to make a plea for Trinis to be allowed to come home. Well, they say, oh, that British MP boy, he looked like a UNC. Blame Kamala again. And you know, the person he spoke about, a gentleman died, an elderly gentleman died, and that gentleman was staying by a relative in that MP's constituency. I wonder if you all recall that. So think of it. Can you imagine? I mean, for almost, as I said, 10 months you're not seeing your husband or your wife. You're not seeing your son or your daughter or a parent. Does this government even think about that? No, they don't. Because when he wanted to see his daughter, she came home. Faris's son came home, that was okay, and I'm happy. I am happy for all those who were able to come home. I'm happy for all those who were able to travel and come back. I'm happy for them. But think about all the other thousands who don't have that facility. And even though it is an illegal regulation, they're being illegally detained outside. It's a kind of exile. You know, it's like you've exiled your citizens. You've exiled them in another country, a foreign country. And they don't care. They don't even think about it. So we will deal with it frontally. In the courts, it's being dealt with, and the parliament, the highest court in the land, is the People's Parliament. We will deal with there as well. So whilst we are here talking about matters, there's a matter that's troubling me. You know, I read in the newspapers, I think Taka just showed me a copy of the article, where it is that the NIB is, well, had given loans, and that within this period, over the last week or two newspaper reports have come out in the Express, indicating that these loans that the NIB and others had given to these companies, that they had to defer the interest payments and so on, because the companies couldn't pay. And I set my mind to thinking, what's going on with the NIB? The NIB, established by the National Insurance Act, first of all, provides for a National Insurance Board, okay? Section 3 of that act. Section 8 of that act says it is the duty of the board to operate and manage the system of national insurance. Okay, we know that NIS, we talk about NIS. And then we get to Section 13 of the National Insurance Act. And it says, it creates a mandatory, not a discretionary power. It mandates that the NIB has a statutory duty to file something called an annual report. They must make that report June 30th. They have 3 months within that period, June 30th, take us up to June, July, August, September 30. 3 months to prepare a report of its work for the past financial year. And then when they make that report, they have to give it to the minister, who is the Minister of Finance. And then the law further says, when the minister gets it, within 2 months, he must lay it in the parliament. He must lay it in the parliament. Why is that important? It is important because we get to know what's happening at the NIB, National Insurance Board. We get to see how many people have lost jobs or how many people have gained jobs, because if you see the number of persons contributed to NIS, if it increases, then it means more people have jobs. If that number decreases, it means more people have lost their jobs, and we know more people have lost their jobs. So no report has been filed for the 2019 year of the NIB, and no report has been filed for 2020. The latest that that report has to be made and filed in the Parliament is the end of November. So end of November 2019 has gone, we have no report. The end of November 2020 has gone, no report. For 2 straight years, no reports. But you will recall in 2018, when I was contributing to the budget debate, the minister and this government has been hiding unemployment data. The CSO has not given any data for years as well of how many people do not have jobs. So I took the NIB 2018 report and was able to show that 60,000 persons, just over 60,000 persons, being only those who would have been paying NIS, 60,000 persons had disappeared. 60,000 less people paying NIS, which means that they had lost their jobs. They were no longer contributing to the NIS scheme. Since then, they have not filed a single report. The minister is hiding the data in NIB report. And I remember I asked about this before, and Ampasa in the parliament, he said something about, well, they made some mistakes in it, I have to correct it. But the law is very clear. The minister cannot instruct the NIB what to do or not to do. The minister cannot correct anything in the NIB report. When he gets it, his only duty with that report in terms of the parliament, file it in parliament, lay it in the parliament, no later than the 30th of November of each year. 2 reports gone. And so we look at what's happening with this. We look at what the report is supposed to have. I mentioned contributors. Many people pay NIS. We will have, as I say, we had 60,000 less as of 2018. Now with 19 and the COVID in 2020, we really need to know what's happening. The report should also tell you about investments. Section 13 of the Act tells you what that report must have. Number of contributors and beneficiaries. So the amount of persons paid into NIS and the amount of people benefiting from the NIS because you pay all these payments. Contribution income collected. Fixed expenditure incurred for administration of the system. Composition of the investment portfolio. That's what that article set me thinking. Because that's what we'll find out. We'll find out where the NIB has invested your money. That's your money. Taxpayers' money is you pay the NIS. Where has that money gone? No report, we can't tell, but we're seeing 2 newspaper reports recently talking about the NIB lending people money, and then when they lent it to them, the people can't pay the money. can't pay the money. So the NIB now has to give them a deferral, reduce the interest rates. Why is the NIB doing that? We need to know what the report says about the investment portfolio of the NIB. It also tells us about the yield on investments. So obviously in that particular investment, the loan that they gave to these two companies, we are getting back less money. Why is that? Again, why is he hiding the report? The report also tells us a statement of any financial or commercial arrangement with subsidiaries or associated companies. All of that has been hidden from us. We don't have it. So the NIB, he told us last year something about the NIB, which again has us very worried. You remember in the budget debate, Imbert told the country he wants to increase the retirement age to what? To 65. So is the NIB, is there money in dire straits? We don't know because we have had no reports for 2 years. Is it a sustainable fund that they have to allow the NIB to continue paying people? And why you want to go to 65? Because then you won't have to pay no pensions, no NIS pensions. 5 more years you want people to work. So we need to see that report. This is what Imbert said October 2020 when he was delivering a budget statement about the NIB. Madam Speaker, we are ensuring that our national institutional mix remains resilient and capable of meeting the demands of a modern economy. We will ensure that the NIB remains able to provide our citizens with income security for various needs, including retirement, maternity, employment, injury, and funeral expenses, with expenditure on benefits now exceeding contribution income. This is just his bold statement. With expenditure on benefits now exceeding contribution income. In other words, what you're getting is less than what they're paying out. So what is the status of this? This is your pension money, your maternity leave money, employment, injury benefits. This is where it comes from, that NIB, National Insurance Board. So what is the status of it? Why are you hiding the report, Minister Imbert? The next step I'm taking, I'm going to drop a pre-action letter on you and take this matter to court to force you to file the reports, because this is statutory. This is not whether you feel to do it or don't feel to do it, or you don't like the report or you like the report. This is your statutory duty under the law of Trinidad and Tobago. So that empty statement the minister made, what does it really mean? The statement only reported situation is dire because expenditure exceeding income. You know what happens when your expenditure exceeds your income? You go bankrupt. You go bankrupt. So we need to find out what is happening there. So the number of contributors, the beneficiaries in the scheme, we could see that. The contribution income collected, we have seen, of course, the last report came before Petrotrin was closed down. The last time Petrotrin paid NIS benefits was $86 million. You've closed it down, so we've lost that $86 million that the Petrotrin employees would have contributed to the fund each year. In that same year, 2018, because the NIB report is at June 30th, 2018, Petrotrin had closed down, when was it? Later in the year. So for those years, again, loss of income. The composition and the investment portfolio and the yield on investments, we don't know. Is it again you have friends and family? Is it that your friends and your family and your finances are the ones who are benefiting from NIB investments, loans from the NIB? We need to know what is the composition of the investment portfolio. So the two newspaper articles spoke about, they talked about it as investments, but those investments were in fact loans given to two different companies. I will not name them now. In due course we can do that, but what I wanted to see is to get that NIB report, and Minister Imbert must tell us why he's hiding that report, because this is going to affect your retirement money, the retirement money of so many citizens who contribute to the NIS. I mentioned it before, when you go on maternity leave, you get NIS. When you get injured, you get NIS. When you retire, you get NIS. When you take maternity leave, you get NIS because you were contributing, you were paying us your money. This is not the money of the PNM and their finances and their friends. This is your money. Minister, but again, I call upon you to file the reports, failing which we shall take you to court to get an order of mandamus to force you to file the reports in the Parliament. So there we are on NIB, NIS, and it's really troubling because I saw a report, another report where Valmiki Arjun, the economist, they say that we are in really serious financial and economic difficulties at this time, that we are walking into a debt trap, and that's debt with D-E-B-T, because of the huge number of borrowings, that we're in a place where it is unsustainable because you have to pay back so much in money that you've borrowed, and you have no new ways, no new opportunities to create jobs and to create what? Revenue. Nothing to create revenue except to borrow, and spend. So after I was listening to a little Facebook post today, somebody sent it to me, a gentleman in Tobago, by the way, and he's talking about, you know, he says, before the election, we hear good things. And by the way, what has happened to Petrotrin? Remember, the man who was supposed to get it, Roget, has now become Roget. Did not get. Didn't get. What has happened to Petrotrin? You shut it down. After the Prime Minister told the nation on national TV, the government is not closing down Petrotrin, lied. The government is not closing down Petrotrin. The man lied, brass face, bold face. If you believe that man, government, somebody came from Mars and shut down Petrotrin. Government not closing down Petrotrin, whop. And in case you were opening your fridge door, closing your fridge door, whop, take that. The government is not closing down Petrotrin. They shut it down. They came to the Parliament, and that was like a big, they were like thumping the desk and rejoicing. Came to Parliament to announce that they're giving this thing or selling it to the man who didn't get. Selling it to the OWTU. Years later, what is the status of that matter? What has happened? You close down the Petrotrin, and now it's scrap iron. The refinery has become a place for scrap iron. I mean, one of the oldest oil industries in the world. We were amongst the first. It was something to be proud of. And for those of us, whether you live north or south, once you pass along that road, you will see the flame, the flare. You will see that flare. It was a landmark. It was something to be proud of. Now when you pass along there, you watch what's going on. Places like a scrap heap. Scrap metal, that's all that this has become. And not a word from this government. So I was telling you about the man in Tobago, man, talking about this government. He said before elections, everything was great. Once election done, they started to talk about privatizing every part of the world. The port, the gas stations, everything to go. So he's saying, no, you know what? You see, after that the THA election on Monday, listen, they told us about WASA. They told us they were going to raise prices. They told us about laying off jobs. He said, wait until after Monday the 25th. Is then the PNM coming to privatize everything? Yes, and then more job losses to come. And I believe that because that's how they operate. Last year, before the election, they were up and down all over the country giving out food cards. You all remember? They were up and down giving out hampers. We were doing it too. So what has happened now? No hampers again. Elections finished. No hampers. People stop eating. How come Minister of Social Development, whoever they were, they gave MPs, they gave us about 100 hampers to give out to children for the school feeding program, but also for persons who had lost their support, had lost their jobs. After elections, all that done, stopped. Stopped. And COVID is still here, and the job losses continue to pile up, but the government has no care, no heart. So you see, after Monday, if you think things bad now, wait till after the 25th, because in their view, they have no election again for another 2 years. The next local will come up. So it's going to be more pressure. We are going to see in the future more pressure from this government. We will see, for example, the property tax. Don't forget, you know. Don't forget they're coming to you for that property tax, okay? We are seeing issues happening with food shortage and food prices rising. Food prices rising. One big supermarket owner in a newspaper recently talked about they think that food prices could rise by about 35%. 35%. So even if shelves have food, because they don't have the forex to import the food, even if you do get some on the shelf, you're not going to be able to pay for it. What is government doing? I call on government. Take the VAT off the foods. Take the VAT off the foods. We had done it before and we didn't bankrupt the country. But at least people would get that 12.5% off of food items. We had done about 7,000 food items that we took the VAT off. Rowley come and he do a 6 for a 9. He says, okay, we are going to reduce the VAT from 15%. We'll bring it down to 12.5. But then what did he do? He increased the number of items on which you had to pay VAT, which have been some of those that we had in all those food items that we had taken the VAT off. So we are going to get really bad problems with food shortages and food prices going up. And whilst that is happening, do you know, they've done nothing about agriculture. You complain every time you don't have forex because look at how much food we have to import, $6 billion worth of food. And for some people who don't understand, when they say cereals, they think it's cornflakes you're buying, you know. When they tell you how much millions and billions they spend, the country spends on imported cereal. Wake up. It's not breakfast cereal we're talking about. You're talking about rice. You're talking about rice. I heard on the radio again come in, they're talking about some rice in Maruga, or some breed of rice that is growing there. Why don't we spend some money and get the agriculture going? They talked about $500 million in the budget for agriculture. What has been done? That was since October. We are into middle of January, going to the end of January. Which farmer has gained any benefit from that $500 million? And when we raised it in the parliament, it was like a big joke. Because they talked about it. Ravi Rataram is the shadow for agriculture. They talked about it and we couldn't find it anywhere. And then we had to find it where? On the Ministry of Finance. The $500 million they said also agriculture didn't go in the agriculture ministry. They put it on the Minister Imbert's Ministry of Finance. So under this government, the contribution of the agricultural sector to GDP fell by over $200 million in real terms. So it was 1.5 billion when we were there, and they've gone down now to $1.2 billion. That is from agriculture. What are we doing? We can't feed ourselves, but we are not investing in agriculture. So we talk about food shortages, we talk about high food prices, but doing absolutely nothing about it. Nothing. All this government is doing, as I said, borrow, spend, raid HSF. That's where they're going again. That's the next stop because there's nothing they have done to increase revenue collection. Nothing. So more taxes to come, more rising prices for basic utilities and so on, electricity, the water, that is to come. High utility rates, higher rates for basic services at the corporations. And Jalen would have told you how the PNM went into Napuna Corporation and tried to increase some fees for certain services. I think they want to do it in Chaguanas as well, Mayor. Down at Kuva Tabaki, don't try it. Don't do it. Where we have control of the corporation, even where we don't, we will not, in these very deadly times, try to tax citizens more, charge them more fees. So they want to charge more for the cemetery or the cremation site and other basic services that the corporations provide. Therefore, I'm saying to you, look, vote for the UNC on Monday, 25th, in the 5 corporations, in 5 seats. We ask you to vote for the UNC. Let us get this wicked PNM out, even if it's 1 seat by a time, at a time. Let's work in these 5 seats, because we're going to see the infrastructure deteriorated even further. We see higher transport costs, As experts have predicted, increased costs of fuel at the pump. We'll see higher crime. We have a worsening ease of doing business index, which will cause further contraction of the economy, and more unemployment in the traditional state sector. Already, you may or may not know, unemployment is over 400% higher. Unemployment, not employment. Unemployment, no jobs, is 400% higher now than it was when we demented office in 2015. 400% higher now than in 2015. And I can give you where I got that from. It's from the Review of the Economy, 2020 page. Review of the Economy, which is Imbert's document, 2020, page 89. 400% higher unemployment. As I close, I want to urge you again, our 5 candidates, Alice Glen, Hollywood, Arima Central, Hindustan, St. Mary's, and one more. Kudupya, how can I forget Kudupya? In all these seats, please come out, put your X next to the rising sun. We have 2 of those seats already. We hold 2, the Hindustan, St. Mary, and the Kudupya. Let's try and win the others. I know the teams are working really hard. I want to congratulate the candidates and their teams in each of these electoral districts. I want to wish you the best of luck next Monday, the 25th, and let's make sure and pull out every vote to be cast for the rising sun. God bless, and I thank you very much.
Fate is said to be the keeper of all man's destiny. Though the lords of wars and ways who rule our lives say they have the key, they're just selling empty dreams that can't fulfill our needs. Don't they know we understand? An empty bag can't stand. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for bread, peace, and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread. Sing this song.
Why did you take off that thing? Why did you take off that? Why that's just small?
Peace and justice. Sing this song for justice, peace, and bread.